Girl, Sammy Jo the Fox, and you are listening to the Homegirl Fox podcast. I'm here with my special guest, Bryan Money Sallis.
How are you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. First of all, Bryan Money Sallis. Mm-hmm. That's you, huh? You the money man?
You know, it's funny. Yes, the money part of my nickname came from when I was in school.
Okay.
And
were you the bookie?
No, actually, it was about basketball. One day, okay. I was seventh grade or whatever. We were, used to play basketball before school and then at lunch, right?
Yeah.
So before school, we're playing, and I'm just on fire. I just can't miss. And
money man.
One of the 8th graders was saying, "Oh man, your money in the bank." By lunchtime, everyone was calling me money.
That's it, be money.
And so from like 7th grade through high school, that was my nickname. So anyone who knew me growing up used to call me money. And then in high school, I got a job before everybody else. So then I really did have real money. Like, I had a job at 15, right?
For sure.
So I actually had money. I'd buy the homies lunches and things like that.
I had a homegirl like that.
And so I always had money. And then as a after high school and whatnot, I just always kind of had money. So that was my nickname. Yeah. And then when I transitioned into like the business, I tried to introduce myself that way, but it never really caught on.
Okay.
But because of social media, I was using Twitter a lot, and my handle is Sallis Money.
Yes.
When people would meet me in real life,
they
would call me Sallis or Sal. And I'm thinking, why are they calling me?
Yeah.
Like, why are they calling me my last name?
It'd be like that now with like social media.
Yeah, and it just stuck.
Yeah.
And then and so since my face isn't on my avatars, right, that was just me. Like, Sallis Money, people just know
Sallis
that name.
Money.
And so Sallis just became this thing, and like now I have to literally introduce myself as Sallis.
You know what's crazy is that, okay, so first of all, me and Bryan have met before,
yes.
Okay, and I thought I hadn't met him. I was like, oh, this head's homie, like I haven't met him. But when you say that too, I'm like, this guy already looked familiar to me, but I had no idea. I meet people all the time. But then I was like, I've heard Crystal Alice say Sallis.
Yes.
So you were like, when you if you are in the emails of Tits and Tacos at the time, B-Roll TV, it was Sallis that I knew.
Yes.
But now, after Twitter, I would see Head like retweet someone, and it'd be Bryan, and I'd be like, dang, that's tough, that's strong, whatever, favorite, boom. And then after a while, I was like, oh no, this guy's on.
He keeps delivering.
I need to reach out. And then you reached back out and you said like you heard about me. And then it was just like, if you're DJ Heads people, and if you listen to podcasts and you know what's up, I talk about DJ Head all the time. If you're one of Heads people, you're good with me.
Well, and what you aren't privy to is Head and I talk about you all the time.
That's amazing.
And he brings you up, and he's such a fan of who you are, not just your talent, but who you are as a person.
Oh, for sure. That's my brother. Like Before all this, that's just my brother.
He's always talked about you. There's things that we have in the works that we'd like to include you later on as we build it.
Legit.
We really like fuck with you.
I'm not gonna act like I ain't manifesting it. I didn't wear my homegrown sweater tonight, but just wait.
So when you reached out, I was like, of course. And I was managing Curtis King back in the day when you guys interviewed.
Yes.
So I already knew about you and whatnot. So I was just familiar.
Another guy who is very similar. You guys are all in that same league. And it's literally the context for me. You know what I mean? You guys just come with not even just like. You guys come with honesty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you guys also come with all the logics. And I fuck with that, because that's something for me that I feel like I lack. And so I look to my people for it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the type who will go and read the book, really. You know what I mean? Because it's just not me. But I'll reach out to my peoples, and I'll follow the people that I feel will lead me to a better place.
Exactly.
And it's always teachable moments. So that's why I invited you here. I just loved everything that you say on Twitter and stuff. I just pick up so much. Even if you follow him on Twitter, and you should, you also pick up not only just game on being motivated, but music game, period.
Yeah.
You know your stuff.
I do. I'm not going to lie. I do actually really know my shit. You
really know it.
I'm really, really smart. But not just that. I'm knowledgeable. I've been doing it a long time.
Exactly.
And I have incredible conversations with really smart people. And so the thing that I bring that a lot of people don't is context to things. When you're not in certain rooms and whatnot, and like if you're a fan or you're on the outside looking into the business, you think you know what's going on. But you lack the context of, you don't know why this happened this way.
I've done it, and
I have that information. I have that insight. It's like, oh no, it didn't really go that way. It went kind of like this.
For sure.
And so what I always try to do is I'm not trying to tell you that I'm just smarter than you. It's like, no, I actually have perspective.
Yeah, and people like me, this is why DJ Head, when I first met DJ Head, that's how our relationship came about, was the fact that like I could take his brutal honesty and take that into feedback and be better. And he knows, like, there was never different tones or nothing. Like if I was drinking too much, he'd tell me, you're drinking too much. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, he should know. Like, he does this. Exactly. Like, he's been in the game longer than me. And I would just take it and do it. And I think that's where Head gets the respect for me, is the fact that, like, I am willing as long as you're willing to teach.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's very, very hard to come by on each side.
Exactly.
But that's how we match up there. So, with that all being said, what is your... what's your job title? What is it that you do? Because I'm like, you like wisdom of operations to me. You know what I mean?
The one question I told you when I walked in here, I'm an open book. I'll answer any question. That was the one question I hope you wasn't going to ask, because I don't have a very simple answer.
If you do it all, go ahead, bro.
I do it all. And so, trying not to sound, arrogant and whatnot.
Go ahead, man.
I used to say that I was like a walking label, because I could do every aspect that a record label, like I know every job title. Nice. Right? But then over the last couple of years, I ventured off and started doing stuff on the TV side and productions and things like that.
Yes, your new show.
Yes. So now I just call myself, an industry professional, because I can do it all.
An industry professional. Like, I love that.
You name the aspect of the entertainment business, and I have knowledge, experience, sometimes expertise, and execution.
I mean, I wasn't really far off. Wisdom of operations sounds right to me.
Well, it's funny you use the word operations. My mind always works in logistics and operations. Like, this is how my brain works. So when people come to me with an idea, and the idea could be great, but I can tell it's like, but you haven't thought about how to work your idea. Because I think of operations. Immediately, I'm thinking, so who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? And so
that's beautiful.
Operations is how my brain works. And Head will tell you, he'll come to me with an idea, and I'm like, great idea, bad time. We don't have the resources to pull off the idea. It's not that the idea isn't good. We don't have the resources to pull off. Right. Like, I ask him, so what part of your day are you going to dedicate to this idea?
Yeah. You have to.
Because he's so busy.
For sure.
Yeah, like, so
trust. I know what's up. I be telling people, you guys, it's not that easy.
He knows I'm right. And he's mad that I'm right, because he's like, okay, you're right. It's like, we'll pin it. Yeah. It's a good idea. We'll come back to it when we have more resources.
For sure.
More people,
Oh, yeah. Like that. Certain things I've done, like when I decided to do this, like on a full time, this guy came to me. He was like, you could do this every day and blah, blah, blah. I added a second show, a third show, and he was like, wait a minute. Yeah. And I was like, I told you. Exactly. You can't just jump into these things. You really have to, like, take your time with it and know. Because if you don't know, it's going to show. It's automatic.
Yeah, you'll get exposed.
This new show that I just started, though, it started very quickly and I jumped into it. But it was one of those ones where I was like, and I honestly saw that you guys started your show, and I thought, crazy, because I'm doing my own thing too, and I was waiting to watch your guys to make sure it wasn't the same, because I thought, just wait, you know what I mean? Let me see. And then I was like, okay, good, it's not, you know what I mean? Because I hate to be a copycatter.
Exactly.
So I'm doing my own thing, and everything is great, but I jumped into it, but I'm pulling it off right now, and it's just all about booking artists. So I'm back to that Tits and Taco Be Real TV side, because my podcast, I honestly do whoever and whatever. Like, I just loved whatever's happening that week or something that I need. It's usually through here.
Got you.
It's basically my therapy.
Got you.
And
that's fair.
And it's all the homies. It's all the homies. Whether you're someone big or you're someone small or you're my family. Like, it doesn't matter to me, because I feel like all these conversations are important no matter how high of a standard you're at.
It's about the quality of the conversation.
It's the quality of the conversation.
And there's value there.
Absolutely. And I knew you would bring value to this. But I do want to ask a couple personal questions. So where are you from?
So it's an interesting story. Like, I moved around a lot as a kid.
Okay.
And so, like, when I was born, my mom was a teenage mom, and so when I was born, she got an apartment as a teenager in Leimert Park.
Okay.
So then we were there, and then we went to Hollywood for a little while. Like Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? You know,
Norbert's from Hollywood. Go ahead, Norbert. Hollyweird.
And my grandparents had a house in Hollywood, and so then after Hollywood, Santa Monica, Manhattan Beach, and then after Manhattan Beach, my mom and my stepdad bought a house in Rancho Cucamonga.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
that's where my mom.
And so from 6th grade to like senior year, I was out there.
Oh, okay, cool.
So the IE. So really,
dang. So you know both sides.
I know both sides.
Okay.
But then what's interesting is then I left. You know, when I went to college, I went to Long Beach State. So I moved to Long Beach.
Okay.
And so it's always funny to me because everyone knows I'm the LA West Coast guy, right? And LA people hate the IE and Long Beach.
You know what's crazy? You know what, Ryan?
I'm from those areas.
I legit was going to bring one of these topics up because but maybe you could just settle this now. What's that all about, man?
You know what it is? I don't know really what it's about, but it's, you know, IE cats and Long Beach cats can be different than like LA cats, right? But it's a lot more of it is just, well, the IE can be really weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm from the IE. I don't like the IE. And the reason why I don't like it is I don't like that it lacks culture.
1,000%.
It's just cookie cutter. Everything. Every house looks the same. And if you go to every 100. shopping center, you can kind of tell like there's gonna be like a Home Depot, a Target, a Chipotle.
I didn't even know what Chick-fil-A. Like I never had Chick-fil-A till I went out there.
Exactly.
I didn't know the streets could be that clean or empty.
And if you notice, all the streets are like perfectly on a grid.
Yeah.
Nothing curves because it was empty land and it's like everything's cookie cutter. And so I didn't like that. So when I was growing up out there, I was like, this is weird because we're all moving out here to get away from the inner city situations and whatnot. And then people are manufacturing problems out here. Like, you guys are weirdos.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think sometimes that like the rappers and the IE come out to LA or they just make their music period. And then people from LA here and they're like, man, shut up, bro. You didn't grow up like that. Like,
exactly.
It ain't like that over there.
The thing is their family is from the city like that.
Yes. So they moved out.
Exactly. Got
you.
So it's this, this thing. And I always tell IE cats, be proud that you're from the IE, but don't say IE only because when it comes to this business, people in Chicago don't know what the IE is.
100.
People in Seattle don't know what the IE is.
Yeah.
People in Atlanta, it's all LA. And it really is LA. Like,
for sure.
People think the Migos are from Atlanta. They're not. They're from some other town that's not too far from Atlanta.
For sure. I'm from Montebello, and I rep my city very, very, very hard. But when it comes to the radio stuff and when I was, mixing myself out there, I was like, LA. Like, there's nothing else you could say. I'm right here.
It's LA. It's about and when you understand the markets and things like that. So I always try to tell the IE cast, like, yo, I get it. I'm from there. But really, we need to be from LA.
Yeah.
Like, have the sound, that's fine, but we're from, LA.
For sure. Take the game, y'all.
If you're going to sell yourself to the country, you're from LA. If you just want to be an IE artist and just sell to San Bernardino and Riverside, by all means, do that. Which is not what you want. No, nobody wants that.
For sure. I believe in that. Well, there you go. It's settled. Bryan Sallis settled it. That's good though, because you are from IE, which means you do have full contacts of, what that battle is all about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's jump back into you, single father of two.
Yes, a lot of people don't know that I'm a full-time single father of two.
Yes.
So I've had my two girls are 17 and 15 now.
Which sounds rough.
It's better than most people's experiences with teenagers, right? But nonetheless, it's still teenagers.
You said you have good girls.
I have great girls,
which is lucky.
The thing is they're very different from each other, but they're both very much me.
Very good.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like battling with myself.
Yeah,
in female form.
Like most of them are. Like most of our parents are. It's like, where'd you learn that? It's like, look in the mirror. Like, that's where you learned it.
Me and my oldest, we were talking about the comedic genius of the movie Superbad and whatnot. And I'm like, why are you and I like
twins?
The same. Because you're right, that movie's hilarious.
Yeah. But they grow up with you. They turn out like you.
Well, my oldest likes like Tupac. I don't play Tupac around. I love Tupac, but I never played Tupac around. Like, where'd you pick up your love of Tupac? But then she loves like, NCT and
But
K-pop.
that's the music. Yeah, but that's the music side of her.
Exactly.
That's the music
and I
side
did play
of
a lot
you.
of music around her.
Yeah.
You know? And
Usually
so,
the music changes. They take a couple things from you, but they do their own thing.
she listens to like a lot of 90s R&B and
Very
whatnot.
good.
So, but yeah.
She's on game.
She is on game.
She knows what's up.
I am a full-time daddy and whatnot. And no matter what I do in this business, being a daddy is still the best thing I do.
I did want to bring light to that because your homegirl is a child of daddy issues.
Okay.
But I do always like to throw some light at my fathers who are actually there. And you got 2 young girls,
Yeah.
and it's a big deal to be in their lives, to protect, to teach,
100%.
And we had a little conversation right before this, and you said it right. Like, you keep it open to them, the conversation. How important are those relationships to what you do too? Like, do you take any of the things that you do as a father into the stuff that you do in the industry?
Well, yeah, because the thing is you have to be you have to be sensitive of perspective.
Very good.
Right? If you're really looking out for your children, right? No matter what age they are, you have to be sensitive to their perspective, whether
Very
they're
good.
4, 5, 12, 17,
Yes.
whatever, right? Well, the artists are just creative children. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is they're showing their most intimate, vulnerable thing that they have, and they share it with us, right?
Correct.
And they need people like myself to help translate that to the world, right? I need to be able to speak a language where they know that they can trust me.
Yeah.
I value what they do. But then I have to be like, but we have to make sure that these people over here that sit in the stands understand this.
Which means that all relationships in this industry are important.
Yes. And it's all about respect. Like I said,
Yes.
you have to respect the perspective.
For sure.
And have, try to really communicate. One of my greatest assets and skills is my ability to communicate. I'm a really good communicator.
Very.
Whether it's via text, email, phone, in person, right?
Yeah.
It's really about communicating. And the thing to being a good communicator is you have to listen before you ever speak.
100.
You just have to listen.
100.
And so I listen very well, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I can then have a
For
conversation.
sure. Most people who don't listen have an excuse or have something to say before they even understood what was actually said. And I bring this up all the time. It's like nobody would have to repeat anything, or the problems wouldn't be happening if you just try to focus on listening first. And it's not one of those like, you don't listen. It's just one of those like, no, it's like listen and take in what is actually being said before you have something to say.
Exactly.
And most people don't think like that. But then again, you can't buy common sense,
No.
which I think it's a big form of common sense for me. But there's people out there who don't understand that.
People lack self-awareness, and people walk into every room. They walk into every room.
That's so important, real quick. People lack self-awareness.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Ooh,
So
everyone check yourself.
So people walk into a room, and the first thing they would do when they want to walk into a room is they want to matter in that room. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing they want to do. They want to matter in that room, no matter what the room is. They could walk into the White House. They want to matter in that room.
Yes.
Right? As opposed to walking in that room and seeing what value that room has to offer them.
For sure.
So I walk into every room assuming that the room is greater than myself.
Very good. Yeah.
And what can I learn?
Yeah.
As opposed to walking into the room and being like, yo, I need everybody to know who I am and what I'm going to.
Yeah.
We don't care. Walk
Yeah.
into the room and see what the room has to offer you, as opposed to what you're trying to offer the room.
That's good. That's gang right there. I do have something for that, but I'm gonna circle back to. I keep circling back to you because I do want people to know what's going on, just so that way they have a background too of where all this comes from and how.
Just living a long time.
Yeah, but we'll check this out. I was going to bring up the fact that you are a cancer survivor.
Yes, I am.
And that was you were talking about this in July, I believe, right? That it was a year.
A year from my diagnosis was July, yes.
And you were at stage 3.
Yeah, when I was actually what's funny is when I was diagnosed, they didn't give me a stage. It wasn't until my surgery in August when they, pulled out, cut out the tumor, and they're like, oh, it was stage 3. They could see it, and it was bigger than they expected and whatnot. I was like, oh wow, that's wild,
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was,
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely, since March, cancer free, and you talk about grateful and whatnot. I'm tremendously grateful. I was very fortunate to get a great prognosis at the very beginning. So I went in with the with a successful mindset.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't share the news with a lot of people. Only like truly less than 10 people knew.
Yeah.
Right. Even like family members didn't know. Like some of my oldest friends didn't know. Like I just didn't. And the reason why is you tell people that care about you that you have cancer, they immediately get scared.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's stress and worry.
And for very good reasons. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I was going to be fine. So it's kind of like, I'm not going to share this.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat it, and then I'm going to let you know. And then I will deal with how you feel about that. And I'm okay with how you feel about that.
Yeah, it could be discussed.
You could be upset with me that I understand that, but I had to do a thing for myself.
Absolutely.
It's like this is because I needed to focus and lock in.
100%. Like it's a battle.
It's a battle.
It's a fight.
It's
so when you go into
battle.
the ring, there ain't nobody else in that ring with you but yourself.
Exactly.
So I think that was super important.
And the battle was mostly with, after the surgery, I had to do 12 rounds of chemo, so 6 months of chemotherapy. And that was the battle because it was more of a preventative thing. They just wanted to make sure I didn't have any lingering, right? Whew.
Took a lot.
It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
And you talk about having to, and I'm a strong, relatively young, healthy man.
Yeah.
And it broke me down.
I can't imagine.
I can't imagine other people, right?
Yeah.
And so that level of mental strength, it's the most.
You need it as much as you could possibly have.
What's kind of funny is up until about maybe about halfway through the chemo, I finally thought that the cancer experience was worse than my divorce. But up until then, the divorce was still number one.
I was gonna bring it up, but I was gonna bring it up, but you just compared it to cancer.
And then I was like, after that, I'm like, all right, cancer is number one, but divorce is number two. It's right there. That was
I can't imagine. How long were you married?
I was married only 2 years. I was with my ex for 5, right?
Yeah. So
my girls come from, I don't call my ex like a baby mama. She's my ex-wife. You know what I'm saying? I give her the respect. I put a ring on it. We
Very
did that,
good.
right?
This is a man, ladies and gentlemen. Take notes.
I will always, give her that respect regardless of what happened after the fact, right?
Absolutely.
But we were together 5 years, married for 2. It didn't work out. And I'm thankful it didn't work out because I was trying to save it and she didn't want to save it. And she did me the biggest favor in my life.
Oh, I can imagine. That's usually how that will go.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so my life just completely fell apart after that. But it put me on the path that I'm on today, which allows me to be the person I am
Absolutely.
today. Which is Sallis.
For sure.
I was trying to have a job. I was trying to do the family thing, right?
100. Of course.
Then I was like,
goals,
After that, my mom was like, you know what? We can focus on you. We'll help you with the girls. Focus on you. Do this music thing.
That's what's up, moms. Yep. And that's what you did.
I haven't looked back ever since.
That's very good. Wow. I'm still laughing the fact that you compared those two.
And I'm not I was really serious.
I believe that because that's to be real with you, that's a short amount of time. 5 years. So I could see that being a little disaster after this too. Because it's I thought I had this and then
and she pulled the rug out from under me.
Yeah.
And then
it's nasty.
Everything after it was just
much.
It's just a lot.
Okay.
It's just a lot.
Well, let's see. Was that years after that you got cancer or is
yeah. So, my divorce was 2007 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
It was a long time ago.
Okay, for sure.
And then a couple years later, that's why I ended up having my girls a little more and more and have them full time and all that. So no, the cancer was just last year. Okay.
And when you were before you realized you had cancer, do you feel like you were doing better or less than of what you're doing now? Do you feel like you came out of being a cancer survivor and you were like, oh no, I'm going for the gold now?
Well, what's interesting is I'm a hard worker.
Completely.
And I'm goal oriented and all that. And I was working my ass off, before. And you have to remember, most of my cancer experience was during quarantine, right? So we all had to sit down.
Yes.
But up until 2019, me and Head talked about we were having the best year of our careers. At that point, it was just everything was great, and we were thinking 2020 we're about to be out of here, right?
Yeah.
Then we sit down for 2020. I find out I have cancer, and I deal with that. Coming out of that, I have the same energy level or energy output as I did in 2019.
Okay.
But my mentality is now I want in on everything.
Yeah. I could only imagine. I was thinking that. I was you had for your brain and the way your brain works, coming out of something that could have put you down. I can't imagine you not having that elevated. All of a sudden, you just like unhumane, like you know, like Superman.
Yeah, it's the feeling I had those months, especially like November, December, January,
holiday
February,
time.
right? Those months when I could finally start to see the end, the light at the end of the tunnel as far as the treatment, right? And then as a country, we were thinking we were going to start getting better with COVID and whatnot, right? We we're going to be out open a little more. I felt kind of like a slingshot where I was all the way at the back and I could feel that tension.
Ooh,
I could feel that tension, right? And I was like ready to like burst out. And then came March, and you know, it's a story I don't really tell, but you know, the last day of my treatment, they'd have to I have to go get treatment, right? And then they'd give me this pouch that gave me 48 more hours of treatment that I would have to carry.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I've seen that.
And so so you go to the doctor and they take that out. The day they took that out for the last time, Head had a gig with we were doing something with Amazon, and I wasn't feeling good.
Yeah,
because I was just doing chemo.
Yeah.
Right? But I was like,
you're weak.
But
but
when I left the doctor's office, I felt like Pac getting out of jail. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit!
I was like, I'm free. And I pulled up on him and went to work. And like I said, I wasn't feeling good, but it's like, but I no longer in my mind had the excuse.
Yeah, and you weren't in that jail.
Yeah,
you weren't in there.
Like, although I'm weak and I'm nauseous and all that, and I'm looking crazy because my facial hair is all falling out,
100.
I'm here.
Yes,
because this is what I love.
Right, and that's like one of the most important things of when you got to show up. Like you just got to show up.
And one of the things I told people through that whole process that you always, no matter what's going on in your life, you have to show up for yourself.
Yes.
Mentally, you have to show up for yourself.
Yes, for sure.
And so I did. And so when I was free from, the actual, bag and whatnot, I pulled up and and Head didn't need me.
Yeah.
Head doesn't need me at those things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be there and I wanted to let him know I'm back.
Yeah. I was going to say that only showed Head like he's a soldier, like he's riding.
Yeah.
I believe it. I have plenty of those moments where I show up when I don't want to show up. Moments where I'm hiding that I'm sick. You know what I mean? I was here like maybe 2 weeks ago. I did like a whole week. Everyone just kept coming to this damn room and bringing anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I ended up suffering from it because I'm a total empath. Gotcha. Okay. And I was like dying before the show. And I told him like, something's up with me. Something's wrong. And then boom, we switched it. As soon as it was over, I was dead again.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's just one of those switches. It's like,
it's a switch
I don't need to rearrange this. I'm not going to wait another day. We're here. I showed up. Let's show out.
I remember an example of seeing that in real time. We were, Head was shooting Rhythm and Flow in 2019, right? And on one of the days we were shooting, T.I. had lost his sister. I think she was in a car accident or something. And she was, in the hospital for a while, and then she later passed. And so the day she actually passed was the day we were shooting. So obviously he was late to set right now, right?
But he still showed up.
He showed up, and you could tell it was just a very dark, somber energy, right?
Yeah.
And we were all we didn't know what to do and say. We were, trying to be very sympathetic
of course.
And as soon as the lights went on to film, he was T.I. You will never know what episode that was.
Yeah.
You'll never know what episode that was. And I looked at that, and I'm like, man, that's a consummate professional right there.
Absolutely.
That is a professional.
It truly, you know what? I tested my waters on that when I had to do an interview. It was a R&B interview. It was like Keith Sweat was there. Everyone was there. T-Boz, all of them. And the day before was my Nana's funeral. And I was very, very close to my Nana. And I just remember my Nana always being like, get up for work. You're sick, go to work. You're sick, go to school. She just always pushed that. You know what I mean? And that was my moment to tell myself, like, I always test myself in this game. Mm-hmm. I just like to challenge myself to see if I could do it. I'll bring two people in here that I just they don't know each other. I haven't seen this person in a minute. They're totally off top, but I want to see if I could do a whole show just because I challenge myself.
Exactly.
So I challenged myself to do that so that the next day I wouldn't be depressed and crazy. I was like, you're going to go to your gig and you're going to handle your business just for yourself. Mm-hmm. It wasn't to go meet them. It wasn't to go get the content. It was none of it. It was literally just for me. In my head, I thought this was me challenging myself if I can do this job, even when times feel rough.
Exactly. life is never a circumstance of perfect circumstances, right?
Absolutely.
We don't get the perfect setup.
Yeah.
But we get the opportunity.
We get the opportunity. I'm taking full advantage of that.
And it's like, the setup isn't quite right. It's not what I wanted. It doesn't look quite right.
Yeah.
But this is the opportunity.
Ooh, I wish you seen this shit when they didn't have all this shit. Well, we didn't have the video.
Let me tell you something. I used to go to Homegrown when they were in Chuck's apartment. It was much worse.
You know what's up. Yep. Yeah. And see, and like when I did TNT, Tits and Tacos, I was like, man, see, when I was over there, I felt like we have all this stuff. But for me personally, it wasn't being used properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just felt like there was only so much I could say, so much I could do. But I still showed up to work with what we had. I wanted to build something, you know? And then having the second chance to do it myself. I mean, this stuff costs money. So there was a definite, like, this thing had like a big old office table.
Of course.
A little Scarlett and my mics. And I was like, hey.
That's what you got.
You hear me, right? Like, I'm able to upload it and do this. And I was fine. Just because it was like, that was me saying, like, it wasn't perfect, but this is what we have and we gonna work with it.
Exactly.
Yes. And I try to do everything like that, but God is good and brought Norbert to me, and now we have all this, it's a whole setup.
Thank goodness for Norbert.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's my guy.
Who's on his phone not paying attention to this conversation.
He's probably in the chat. But you know what? What I was going to bring up also is, and speaking of, because Norbert is an added person to my team.
Okay.
Because I'm my team.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. You know, I'm the art person. I'm the promo person. I'm the host. I'm the producer. I'm the everything. If I could be the green screen, I'd be the green screen. You know what I mean? But God thankfully brought me Norbert. Mm-hmm. He actually offered to help with my sound. And then he knew so much about technology. And he was like, well, if you had this and if you had that. And I was like, if I had money, sure. You know what I mean? But he brought the value into my room.
Okay.
And I asked him if he would like to stay, and he has. And it's been great. But I have a problem with building my team.
Okay.
I have had people around me come in and be in the room, mm-hmm. not add any value, mm-hmm. and take. Mm-hmm. And that has happened around me from time to time. But I recently had it done, and I just like, they took what they got from here, and then they went and did their own.
Okay.
And like made money off of it and did the whole spiel. And I felt very like, I took it personal.
Okay.
Which is something I'm working on.
Okay.
And I'm sure Head knows this about me, but like anybody who follows me, like I tell the truth. Like I'm very honest about my stuff. Mm-hmm. And I like to share the failures, and I like to share that I'm feeling some type of way. You know, I was worse back then when I just wasn't mature at all. I'll put you on blast and light your shit up. You know what I mean? But your girl's come a long way. I promise that
thank goodness.
We've been working on that.
Maturity, growth,
yes.
Hashtag growth.
Hashtag growth, for real. You know, where people hit me up and they want to roast somebody, I'm like, hey.
Calm down.
Don't worry about that. Like, look at what happened. Like, God has me. I'm taken care of, and I don't want to make those moves anymore, you know? But putting together team, for me, feels very... I'm on edge a little bit. I'm uneasy, and I don't want to add just anybody to my team. What type of team members do you guys look for in your team? Like, what type of teammates are valuable to a room?
It's a great question. And the collective of Homegrown has had the experience that you had, where people kind of came and were there for the wrong reasons, mm-hmm. right?
Bad intentions,
yes.
You know.
What we have learned over the years, and I've been with Chuck and Head 10 years, and I'm, responsible for bringing someone like Sparkle on.
Okay.
I found her and brought her. And
super important to Homegrown.
But what we've learned more than anything else is, do they value the opportunity enough to continue to pull up? Just pull up, right?
Right.
Because people will tell you, all the things I can do this, I can do that. Okay, but can you show up every week?
Yeah, for free.
Yeah.
Because that's another deal.
What people don't realize, when I started coming to Homegrown, I wasn't coming to work with them. Mm-hmm. I was coming for my own selfish reasons, because I needed to reinvent myself in this business and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I was just pulling up, and they had an open door policy, and I just kept coming because It was kind of like, if you're like, homeless and there's one mission where you can go get a meal.
Yeah.
You go, right? It was like
absolutely.
that. I had nowhere else. It was like, so I'll go here. And I just kept going and kept going and kept going. And then after every episode, I would sit with Chuck. I didn't even know head like that. I would sit with Chuck and we would talk about the show and I'd give him some, my 2 cents on how I think what went well, what didn't go well, all that. But I kept pulling up and pulling up and pulling up.
And being there.
And pulling up and pulling. And then they realized, oh, you really are serious. Like, you really want to be a part of what's going on. And there was never this conversation that I'm officially anything. Like, to this day, we've never had an official conversation of what my role at Homegrown is.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyone who knows, like, I'm like a very important person.
Absolutely.
I can do whatever I want.
You VIP.
I just don't do anything.
I feel you.
There's still checks and balances, but like I can make anything shake.
Yeah, but it's almost as if it wasn't even like one of those things to give you a label. It was saying that, hey, you were just a part of it.
I'm just here.
Yeah, like he came in. And the reason I even let him in as well is because he's been following me since Tits and Tacos. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's a long time ago for me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, this guy has stuck with me through all my failures. He's seen me win. He's seen me lose.
But he sees, and but here's the thing, right? But he sees who you really are.
Yes.
You think of success as failures. He's not seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
He's seeing your greatness.
Yes, he does.
And he's like, completely. I need to be a part of that.
For sure. But I'm like, just knowing those ends, besides of what he sees, I'm like, because of that, I'm down. Because we were strangers to each other. Mm-hmm. We didn't grow up with each other. We don't know someone that knows somebody of each other. So I was already like, I don't know yet, because relationships can go bad. And
so going back to your question about teams, right?
Yes.
So most people start off in their 20s with this idea of greatness, right? I'm gonna be a XYZ singer, rapper, on-air personality, whatever, right?
Yes.
We have this. And we think the people around us, our friends right around us, are going to be the people that are going to be with us for the rest of our lives.
Hell no.
And they're going to be the ones that are going to be like our supporters, our team. They're going to manage me. They're going to be my publicists. They're going to be my whoop-de-whoop.
In your 20s.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
None of them stick around.
100%.
Not one.
Nah. I mean, I'm thankful. Some like they show up like a 1 year anniversary and they're there to, but you're right. You're right. You're so totally
what life
right.
has to teach you, and you're too young to know this, because I always tell people in their 20s that they're infant adults, right?
Absolutely.
You're an infant adult.
For sure.
You think you're an adult. You're not an adult. You're a child adult.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You don't know how to wipe your ass, adult, right?
You're 20-teen. Yeah.
And so what you don't realize is that your life is so long that people are going to come in for periods of your life.
Seasons. Yeah,
exactly. To add value in those values or lessons.
Yes. Ooh.
Because sometimes it's lessons.
Amen.
Values or lessons, right? And when you're thinking about your team, the thing that most important think about is think about the work that needs to be done.
Positions.
Don't think of the person that needs to do it.
Very, very good.
Right?
Okay.
So the first thing you needed was someone to help you with the sound, right? Because you can do the other things, but sound, like, you want to make sure that you can focus and have this conversation,
correct,
right? And someone else is taking care of the sound, right? Everything else is preparation to the show, graphics, things like that. You can do that when the show is not happening.
Yes.
But when the show is happening, what's the one thing you have to focus on is the show. So what's the other thing? The sound. So
right.
So you manifested and you attracted the first person.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
And what you're gonna end up doing is you're gonna attract people. Not everyone's gonna be the right fit, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's like dating. It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay to go on a bad date.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm having such a hard time. Man, I hate dating.
You have to date. How are you going to meet the person if you don't go out on the dates?
It's true. It's so true.
So there may be people that are not going to work out.
Yeah.
That's fine. And there are going to be people that are...
Okay. You make me feel better about that.
They're going to want to use you. Take that and feel good. It's like, I'm worth being used.
Yeah, okay. So perspective.
Because if you weren't worth being used, I wouldn't pull up on you.
Perspective. I needed that. Like, I needed to hear it in that way.
You're somebody.
Because I'm seeing it in one direction, and it feels right, because I usually go with my intuition, but I'm like, what I'm doing right now needs a team, whether I want to be prideful or not. Like, yes, I love that I can do everything mostly myself besides this stuff. But I'm like, I want to do more, and I can't do more if I don't have help. Exactly. So I'm in the position now where I'm like, Bitch, you need help.
You need help.
You need help.
And it's okay to, allow yourself to have help. Allow yourself to have people that maybe aren't a great fit in the moment. Because one thing you're also going to learn is what you really do need. By having the wrong person, be like, oh, I actually really need someone who can do this.
So there goes the lesson.
Like dating.
Yes.
You realize, oh, I don't like someone who does that.
Yes.
Or I actually really like that they did that. I need that in the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. That's what the dating is.
Yes.
Same thing, right? Because you're going to learn, people are going to teach you about yourself.
100.
So even if they leave, they've taught you something about yourself, what you want, what you don't want. So just be open to.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Okay.
Be open to and allow them to come in.
I like that. Do you see it as like any personality traits that kind of stand out to you when it comes to building a team?
Well, yeah, you need people who are very much selfless. Selfless. Because they're bringing value to what your thing is, right?
Right.
So they can't come up with their agenda. The worst thing is like
that's the hard part of finding.
People wanted to come, to Homegrown, whatever, but they wanted to be a rapper. So it was like about the exposure and meeting people. It's like, yeah.
See, yeah.
They have to come. And the thing is they can have an agenda where the work they do with you educates them and propels them in another way. Yeah. Which is fine. Like Homegrown has Lupe. Lupe is amazing.
Amazing. Shout out to Lupe.
Right? And I remember, this was years ago, I told Lupe, you are not utilizing the platform enough for yourself. Mm-hmm. You want to write for us. She kept trying to write for other people and whatnot. It's like, write for us.
Yeah. For a minute, she was a little everywhere.
Yeah, write for us. Yes. Because we're going to give you the opportunity. You don't have to pitch us.
Yeah.
And,
who better?
And she would be in the group chat and she'd like, I want to write this idea. Like, Lupe, do whatever the hell you want to do. We don't care because we trust you.
Right. And I think Lupe came from a place like, when I went to Homegrown Radio, I saw Lupe and I saw what she was doing, and then I saw like her input and things like that, and I automatically was like, girl, like they are looking for you. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate that they weren't grabbing her, and that was like really annoying because she was like, oh, like, you want to do the same thing, whatever. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not. If it was me and Lupe and we were one person, we be on the radio. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I was like, girl, you have everything it takes. Like I would remember back in the day, I was hoping that she never took it too personal because those people were just hating. Yes. She's so smart. So smart. And she's so good at what she does. They didn't even like the fan effort. They didn't even like the support. You know what I mean? Exactly. I knew where that came from too, because I remember I kind of did some of that too until you meet your heroes.
Exactly. She was a fan and we brought her in, and I didn't even know her at first. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm kind of removed from a lot of certain aspects of the brand and whatnot, because I just deal with Chuckhead and Sparkle.
Got you.
That's all. There's people that are part of Homegrown that have no idea they have never met me, and I have no idea who they.
Oh, really?
And there's no disrespect. It's just I don't have to talk to them and whatnot.
Got you.
There's people that they talk to and whatnot. But Lupe kept being around, and when I met her, I'm like, oh my God, she's amazing. Yeah. And I remember having a conversation with Chuck after she had been there about a year, and she was like an intern, and she had been doing some things, and he was like, we have to do something else for her, but he didn't know what to do, and so I was like, well, and I didn't really know her that well. I said, well, explain to me, what is she, what is her value? And he would tell me all the things that she did, and it was Swiss Army knife. Yeah. Right. She does a bunch of stuff.
She's great. Yeah.
And I was like, well, why don't you guys promote her to, producer of the show? Not that that's what she was asking to be. Yes. But she could bring value in that way. And there's a structure in that title, right? Yes. That she can learn to be that kind of a person and put that on her resume. Because I was thinking about, I always think about whoever comes to Homegrown, how they can pivot from Homegrown and go do other things. And very cool. It's like a breeding ground, right? For sure. And she could put producer on her resume with everything else. And that would be great value to Chuck and Head and things like that. So when they were still on Market Street, so that was like my idea to Chuck. He said, okay, that's a great idea, whatnot. And so that was the thing but she kept showing up, and she was willing to do anything. Where other interns she showed up with weren't willing to do anything. Yeah. It's like, oh, I only want to do, and then they weren't good at the thing that they said they wanted to do. Yeah. They weren't doing it that much or that good. Yeah. Or that often. Which is why, like, he was telling me, he's like, how come you don't post something? And then I was like, oh, it's just because, like, that welcomes just everybody, and it's a variety of people that, like, I'm not in a place right now to
to have a tryout. I'm like looking for the one, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm not in a place to like let someone come in here, try out, and then next week, because I didn't like them, they're out there talking all the Sammy Jo's bossy and she this and she that, which go ahead because I am. But it's one of those things. It's like, I don't want drama. I'm still working on the content, and I need it to be as the content is just important.
Exactly.
To me, I put the content on top, and everything else has to come next. You know what I mean? He wants to do all these things. I'm like, just wait, because I need it to be what I want.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I don't believe in taking crazy steps until you have conquered what you really want to do. You know what I mean? So like to me, and I don't think it's like a perfectionist thing. I just want it to be great. I just want it to be great. Another reason why I haven't had head hair, because I'm like, I don't need the internet to go down. I don't, I'm like, I need it to be so top notch. It needs its own cinematography. It needs its own, you know what I mean? Because I just want it to be special.
And
but
just so you know, Head doesn't need any of that.
I know he don't need shit.
He will go on an Instagram Live.
He will just go Instagram Live. I know, but I don't want that shit. I want the whole show.
And let me tell you something. I know him in real life. He's not that special. He's not that special.
Man. Oh, man. He's so...
Hey, you know what? Look. And I would say it to his face, and he knows it.
He knows you would, too.
Our relationship
I can't even imagine you two.
Is absolutely brutal.
I could only imagine. I do not want to be in that roast.
You should have heard the jokes he had for me when I was dealing with cancer.
I can only imagine, but that's what I love about him. That's why I think he's special. Okay, but let's get back into this. We talked about the team, and I appreciate that because I'm actually asking you for me.
As you should. No.
And I really, but I also too, I know that people that follow me or that like really like the interview, some of them are doing their own stuff where they're interviewing now and they're on that tip, and I know this can help absolutely everybody. I did want to talk about taking things personal.
Okay.
And go circle back to that.
Oh, wow. we can have a real conversation about that.
Oh, absolutely. Because, for me, it was a growth thing where I was like, I realize now that, and the reason why I don't do those, putting people on blast and burning those bridges anymore, is because I'm in this growth level where I'm like, okay, that didn't work. Mm-hmm. That only made things worse. And why do I take things personal? And I realized that this is something that I've learned. This is something that was taught to me growing up. Like my nana, my mom, they'd be like, if they didn't get the invitation, they weren't going.
Exactly.
But it wasn't just like, oh, I didn't get the invitation, like I'm not going. And I've always told them like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not important. But you could tell it touched, it bothered. Mm-hmm. So it was taken personal. Mm-hmm. So I think some of that stuff like has really stuck onto me without me knowing. I finally realized it within this year. I'm 33, but I'm finally realizing that was something that was kind of taught to me, the taking personal things. So I kind of have just dropped it, and it feels like such a relief off my shoulders.
Okay, that's good.
But I do know that that's one of those things that like can creep back up. What's the key to not taking things personal?
Well, the thing about taking something personal, it's 100% about your ego. It's only your ego.
Wow.
It's only your ego.
Yeah.
It's not your intuition. It's not your heart. It's your ego, right?
Yes.
And so you have to ask yourself, your ego, why do I care? And it's okay that you care about certain things because we're human. We're flawed.
For sure.
But when you ask yourself why you care and you have that honest conversation, because most of the time people don't have people never have honest conversations with themselves. They lie to themselves and then they perpetuate that lie to the rest of the world. Yeah. Right?
Some people still haven't, they'll grow up and go old all the way until the end of time, and they still don't know what accountability is.
Have no idea.
Yes.
So taking things personal is 100% about ego. And when you accept that, oh, that hurt my feelings. That bruised my ego. Just admit it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
And then you ask yourself, why is that? And then, if you have done any level of self-awareness and self-work, right, you'll get to the root of what that issue is inside you. And then you realize that probably was not their intention. That's just how I
perceived it.
Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Very few people in life are literally going out of their way to hurt people's feelings. Some people will hurt your feelings, but most of the time it's unintentional.
For sure.
You know, they'll say something not realizing that's a trigger or that bothers you. It's like they don't realize.
Yeah.
They'll make a joke thinking that this is funny, like, oh, but that actually kind of bothers you.
100. Everyone has different triggers.
So we don't know. So like, there are people who do go out purposely to hurt people's feelings.
Oh, yeah.
All right? But
definitely.
Most people, like, it's very unintentional.
Yes.
You know? And so when you realize that, it's like, oh, they probably didn't realize that like bothers me, or and it's about your ego. If you can have a healthy conversation with your ego, right? Like really like look in the mirror and have a healthy conversation with your ego. Your ego is a good thing because your ego protects you in ways, right? And also can give you confidence in ways, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, before you're capable of doing something, your ego tells you to do it.
For sure. Like I like to be like, I honestly feel like I don't feel like I have a big ego, but maybe I'm comparing egos because I seen bigger ones. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't feel that way, but I also tell him, and I tell everyone too who does this job, and like when you walk into the room, you need to be that person.
Got to be that person.
So that is ego.
Got to be that person.
100%.
So ego is not a bad thing, right?
Okay.
But it can be a detriment if you can't have an honest conversation with your ego.
Absolutely.
So when you take things personal, when I was first getting in this industry, and I was just telling the story. I was telling the story about when I first was rolling with Head. So everybody knows Head. Head has a long relationship with a lot of people. Yes, and he's been a popular guy for a long time.
For sure,
right? So when I started rolling with him in like 2012, just me and him outside of Homegrown, I would go pick him up from his house, and we would, we would utilize his relationships to get into places or to pull up on artists or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And I would just be standing next to him, like I wasn't managing him. That was not the goal. It was just I needed to have certain, I would pick him up, and I needed to meet these people myself, right? Well, anyone who's been in this business, even you can attest to this. You meet people and you forget that you've met them. For sure. So people would meet me, right, and they completely forget. So I would meet them again, and I never took that personal. Yes, because to me, I will matter to them when I matter to them. Mm-hmm. Whenever that is.
But you matter to yourself. And
I know why I'm here and whatnot. And I deserve to be here. They forgot who I was. And and they introduced themselves again, and I just met, I just saw someone, I'm not going to put his name out there, but a very well-known, songwriter, right? And I've known him for like years. I've run up to him, and every time he introduces himself to me. Yeah. And I literally like work with one of his like collaborators. Yeah, it's one of those. I know. Yeah, I hate being that person, and I hate being that person to someone. You know what I mean? So I know that those feels. I've gotten to this point in my own career where I've now become the person that's like, I completely forgot I met this. Like I meet a lot of people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I meet a lot of people for sure. I mean, and I was like I was networking like as soon as I hit like 18. Like I was going to the club and networking and pretending I was going to be someone, like just saying it someday. By the way, was your ego doing that? Oh, for sure. I would walk in there and like pretend. I was almost like, I always say this, I'm like, catch me if you can. Mm-hmm. It was because I was like, I want to do this thing and I'm going to start saying it now. Exactly. And you had that confidence to put that out there. And I'm so opposite now. I'm like, should I go? Do I need to be there? Is that person there? No one's there that I'm going to, no. Okay. I'm good. Mm-hmm. I'm good. Let me separate myself from that, But I did catch myself, and I did something that I do want to share with you guys because you guys, some of my people think I'm perfect, and I'm not. And I want to admit my insecurity that happened to me recently, and why this actually, I brought it up to you, is because recently someone hit me. Well, they hit up a guest of mine. And, everyone's got shows going on. And I am the person, like the reason when I went to radio and, they say don't meet your heroes, I could see that it's not as much of a, yeah, we want you. Yeah, you're good. Like, you should be here. It's more of like, oh, you're good. Fuck that. Well, yeah, your competition. Your competition. And see, going in there, I almost had like my blinders on, just googly eyes, just smiling, just, rainbows, if you will. Like, I just thought it was supposed to be a very like team effort. It's supposed to be like, dang, you're good, we want you. Like, I just thought it was supposed to be like that. And then you find out it's really not, So fast forwarding to the future, I had a guest here who told me that somebody else wanted them on the show, but I happened to get them first. So I was like, okay, like, why can't you just do both? She was like, yeah, I know. That's what I said. She was like, this person told me, do ours,
do hers later because we have more people. We have a bigger following, that yada yada. And this girl hit him up like, that's rude. Like, you guys know each other, you guys are friends. Like, why would you say that, you know? This person erased those messages, totally, you know, ran away from the whole situation. And then I was just like, well, damn, I guess you're right. It hit my ego. It made me feel like I wasn't good enough, or like they're so much better, you know? And I don't feel like that on a normal basis, because big following or little following, like I said, I really pay attention to the content.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, what I do, I feel is super important to the people that hit me up, and the commotion that I'm stirring up right now. I'm like, it's worth it to keep going, even if I only have a couple people watching. But it hit me that day as if I didn't feel that way anymore. And then I had to go back, dissect it, ask myself how I wanted to react, and then go back to like, this is my passion though. And this is my purpose. And all this stuff came to me. Like, God threw it on me. I didn't go get this. You know what I mean? It's not something that's forced either. I'm not feeling like a force to do it. This is what I just love to do, and I feel so natural doing it. So I had to go back there and rewind that. But it took me to that place where I was like, dang, should I stop? You know what I mean? Because it's that place when, and I went to an interview that week, and he said like, yeah, I didn't even want to start the show and whatever, because there was only a couple of like followers, but then it shot up and it did this and that. Because if it would only been this much, I would have just quit. And I was like, like, here it comes again. Like I said, I spread myself super thin all at once. And I'm already promoting my damn shit. I'm already telling people I'm on this, I'm on that, I'm on that. But I can't stuff this thing down your throat anymore. You know what I mean? And it's just me. I'm the team. It's me and Norbert. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, how do I get through this? And Big Boy's Big Boy got his star, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like there was some people there who have bigger egos than me. Okay. Yeah. And certain people there that like I don't have beef with, they have beef with me. I don't care. But I felt like my mental was telling me not to be there. Because I felt like those egos were going to attack mine. That was feeling way too small at the moment. So I was like, okay, I want to be there for Big Boy. But at the same time, like, it's those little egos around him that I have to be like, just take care of yourself right now, because you still need to show up. And this is important. So I put myself first. I put my mental first so I wouldn't fall into that hole.
Okay.
What is that? My ego? Is that just my total ego being like?
So here's the thing. When people attack you unsolicited like that, they're threatened by your greatness.
Absolutely.
And if you have the ability in the future, instead of going within and feeling insecure, take it as, oh, I'm really that great. Yeah. You are bothered by my existence.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, you're doing better than me. Like, what was that about? Yeah.
You two people book the same guest and they're like, do ours, don't do hers because we have more followers. Well, then who cares if they do yours?
Yeah. Why do you care so much?
Why do you care? Oh, you do care. So why do you care? And then when you understand why they care, it's like, oh, so I matter in your world.
Yes.
And so if you can, and I understand it's easy to feel victimized and then to feel wounded.
I've worked very hard on not being that person, but I could tell that I was like, oh man, shit took me there.
I get it.
Triggering.
But understand that that is about them seeing you as competition, or anything, and they can't embrace you. And one of the things that I often tell people, like, I have no problem reaching out to younger generation of anyone who's trying to do anything, right? And even people that are like DJs and they look up to Head and like Head will reach back, because the thing is we want the young generation. For one thing, they can't be us. No disrespect to them, but we are who we are.
That's it. Yeah.
They're going to be who they're going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are, like, I tell people, I'm Sallis. Like, you can't do me.
For sure.
And there's great people around, but no one is the combination of the things that I am.
Yep.
Right? So I have no threat to bring on a young homie. That's why I keep a lot of young people around me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so relevant, because I stay tapped in with all the young people and whatnot, because I want to find the ones that are going to be great, because
For sure.
they need to follow in the footsteps, you know, and whatnot. And so
you want to lend that handle, like you are
100%.
willing to help, you know what I mean, which is very, very rare to come by, which is why too, like, having this interview is super important to me as well, because this is someone, you know, and I just talked about this with Drebo, because Drebo's music, I don't know if you know Drebo.
I know Drebo. And
okay.
Yeah.
So I was telling Drebo, I was like, you know, you actually have a lot of gems in your music. Like, you actually really motivate throughout a lot of your songs in many different ways. And I felt like it was important, because he does have a song even called Free Game, you know, and I feel like that's very, very hard to come by, which is why I started like a really big relationship with Head, is because before he was giving this to other people, like on social media, he was doing it just for me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If I need, one day, Head was like, well, what are you missing? I was like, well, I don't have all this shit that they're telling me I need. I need Photoshop. I need this. I need that. Got my computer, loaded it up, you know, just boom.
People
what else you need?
Yeah.
You know, and we'll meet at Hooters. Fucking, like, let's go.
Well, he has to eat.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like, he was there for me when I needed anything and any type of direction. And I never needed, you can ask Head himself. I've never been like, yo, Head, can you do this for me? Because blah, 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 blah. Or, hey, I need this. Can you put me up on, you know, can you get me that guest? I don't ask for stuff like that. I don't feel like I'm just not in that place yet. One day we'll get there. You know what I mean? But it was one of those things that, like, he was giving me free game, and I forever respected the fuck out of Head, because I just thought, I have not met people in this place that want to help me.
Exactly.
You
well,
know?
and you know, what you have to understand is, when he and I started, you know, and it was just he and I, you know, it's a conversation. It's a story he tells often, and I also tell. After a show at Homegrown, we went and went to Denny's.
Because you got to eat.
Got to eat, you know. And we were there for like 4 hours. And I was asking him, like, I was trying to figure out what he was trying to accomplish in life, right? Because I wanted to help, you know. And, you know.
Nice.
And we
That's so dope. Real quick. They went out to eat. And you had him, like, speak his piece because you wanted to help.
Well, what happened was there was a prior conversation months before, and he kind of told me his whole, like, history in the music business. And he told me about all the records he had affected, broke, all that he didn't get credit for. The thing that bothers me more than anything in the world is people who don't get their credit for stuff. I give credit. I may not be able to pay you, but one thing everyone's going to know is, hey, you did that, and I didn't. I maybe can make the idea better or what, but that was you, or you did that thing or whatever. I'm big on credit.
That's the best thing in the world. Like, for me, I've done certain things where I'm like, yo, like, and that's why I stopped being that fan. That's why I stopped being that middleman, because most things that I pushed or gave, or, you know, it just was never credited in a way that I was like, you guys see me out here. I'm also trying to do something or whatever, but people will take at any chance they get.
And so Head was doing these things. This was before I knew him. He wasn't getting credit, so it bothered me. So we fast forward to that conversation. I wanted to help because I wanted to put him in a position when he did that going forward, he got the credit.
That's awesome.
I mean, if you look at, you know, his Instagram today, he posted the plaque he got for Victory Lap.
Yes.
Right?
Congrats, Albie.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yes,
and,
amazing.
You know, the thing is people don't know the relationship that he had with Nipsey and whatnot. And the relationship was that he was willing to pull up on Nipsey and have very difficult conversations. That was to help Nipsey, right?
For sure.
And, you know, and that led to certain things like records like, you know, Last Time That I Checked. That
He's been doing that forever.
Exactly. And so he earned that.
Yes.
And for me, and so the credit that he got in the album and, you know, and then the plaque to me is like, that's why I started this with him. He deserves that credit for
that was the outcome of your relationship.
That he, you know, exactly. Yeah. And so for me, it was, you know, how can I help? You know, and so we started off just driving a lot and whatnot, going to places, and he was in the car with me. And you know, I'm a few years older than him, right? And I had some experience, and I would just talk to him and whatnot, and I would give him all the game. He was sitting right there, and he was like, and I was like the first person that helped him kind of like expand his view of how to look at himself. The business,
because
life.
So when you say that, I just saw like the evolution type of deal. Like, Head is one of those people before you, I think, that like people go to him because that's what he gives out, which is now I'm in that position where I'm constantly giving out. But one day you be so grateful to meet someone where you can go to them and ask them for perspective or them for that help, and they can throw on some guidance. That's like you're lucky if you get that. It's a blessing. Team effort.
And there's people that they're fortunate enough to know both he and I. But yeah, you know, I always tell people would pay a lot of money to just sit and listen to our conversations.
Oh yeah.
Me and Head's conversations are a full fade.
Oh, I could
bar. And it's a lot of shit talking, and then something brilliant will come. Or I'll mention a perspective, or I'll give him something that he's never thought. He's like, damn, and he thinks about it. And the thing, because his brain is very it's like a computer, right? Computational.
Yeah.
And so I'll say something, and he'll be like, boo, and then he'll be able to do something somewhat.
It's a collab of so much knowledge. Yes.
Right? And that's what people don't see. That's what makes our union so special, because it's not business. Yeah. And it's not about the business part about it, and it's not about the friendship. It's about the masterminding. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Because he and I both work our asses off. Like physical energy, like we're going to work off. But we have these conversations. Today, we just talked on the phone we'll talk on the phone for like an hour or whatever, just kind of catching up on what's been going on, whatnot. And then like, you know, what we're working on, what the goals are. And I keep thinking, it's like, these conversations, although they're normal for us, people would die to
absolutely.
They would die to hear this.
Oh yeah, if you and Head just like said y'all were gonna like
if we just
start
went on
Zoom,
live, we just went on live, right, and just had our normal conversations.
Oh yeah,
the comments would be crazy.
Oh for sure,
because of what we're talking about.
For sure,
and we're not even paying attention. We're just riffing back and forth.
For sure, and not even just people like at the like the lowest level or the mid level.
Oh,
like
no,
you would have everybody on that.
Be like, oh, that's
a special, like, unique, you know, relationship and business to have. It's very hard to come by. You know what I mean? But damn, that's a blessing. There's a reason.
And it's, you know, and it's completely earned, right? The thing is,
yes,
Head doesn't just allow anybody into his life. So
Same.
I had to earn it. And there was things that I've done that gained his trust, right? He knows he can just trust me.
See, that's me.
With everything, right? Yeah. And I've maintained that, you know, that trust. And you know, and that's, you know, that's what's, you know, it's been built with, you know, with that and whatnot. And he knows that I'm going to do whatever he wants, whatever the goal is, I'm with it all the way till the wheels. It's like, that's what we're doing.
Till we get it. Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Bet.
And then we're doing something else after that.
You know?
Yeah. You guys have the mass to multiply every time. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. That's very good. Well, I need me a Sallis.
And you know,
I got the Head mentality. It's very hard to come by, you know. I got a Norbert, not a Sallis yet, but we praying on it. We praying.
Real quick, but did I answer your question about like taking things personal?
Yes. No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, you dissected it for me, which I'm glad you did, because that lets me know what parts to work on in a very slower way, and I need that.
But it's okay to admit when something does hit your ego.
Oh yeah. I'm sharing this because I'm already over it, and I got over it very quickly, but it was one of those things I was like, and I didn't even think of you actually dissecting it the way you did, but I was like, oh, well, I want his perspective, but the dissecting helps everyone in this situation, because how many times does this happen? How many people come into your lives and people at your jobs, you know what I mean? They one up you and they do all this stuff. They make you look bad, whatever, and they make you feel not good enough. They don't include you. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff happens to regular schmegular people all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not just like in what I'm doing, or, you know what I mean? People I know a lot of people who follow me like are in like t-shirt businesses and things like that. Like, that's, you're gonna have your feel small days, but you have to remember that is the ego. It's
the ego. And it's okay to admit that something has bruised it. I just recently went through it. As old as I am and as much game as I gave, I just recently went through a situation where there's this kid out here who has been antagonizing me for a while, right? And I was letting it bother me because he was using certain words and name calling that completely doesn't apply to me. But I had to finally get to, and I would tell people like it was bothering me, and they'd be like, but your salads don't let it bother you. And it's like, no, this bothers me. And I finally got to the why. It took me back to before I went to Homegrown. There were people who were talking about me behind my back, and they were trying to there was a time when people were trying to blackball me and didn't like me.
Yeah.
It was over some misunderstandings, things that had really nothing to do with me.
Yeah. But some young stuff.
I was just the guy to blame, right? But no one would pick up my phone calls. That's why I ended up at Homegrown, is because everyone I was working with deserted me one day. I had like nothing. And so this kid calling me a certain name, it took me back there.
Yeah.
Once I admitted that to myself, I was able to let it go. So
For sure. This
is taking me back to those dark days.
Yeah. And I talk about this all the time.
It wasn't that it was true.
Yeah.
But it was triggering those things. Now I'm like, man, that's whatever.
Yeah.
You know, he's young.
Yeah. When you do self work and you do all that, it builds up it builds like this shield. But once in a while, someone could get in between, you know what I mean? And then you have to have that moment again and reminder of your self worth all over. So that makes sense. I think it's a bad habit too. You know, the taking stuff personal. That was my to me. I look back, I'm like, it's a bad habit that I learned. And because most people know, like, the ego isn't crazy, but when you're right. It's the ego.
Something. Most people don't care about you. I'm just gonna be honest.
Oh, 100%.
Like, we really just don't. You know, 100. The average person is very self-absorbed.
Yeah.
They don't actually care what you got going
no.
on. No one's doing any research on what Sammy Joe is doing. You know what I'm saying?
If they ain't getting a piece, they don't care that much.
It's a reflection of their insecurity.
Yeah.
And they're just projecting that onto you. They're insecure about whatever the thing is, and they see you coming as a threat, but they really, they actually really aren't. They're not watching this interview right now. They just don't care.
It's one of those things. It's like, that's why I'm saying that it comes to a reminder, like, don't get hyped because it ain't that serious. And it's honestly a big waste of time. You know what I mean? Like, I had those moments and I was like, oh man, like, I don't need this. Like, I have stuff to work on, and I let it slow me down. And that's the reason I really brought it up, honestly, is to share that, like, real shit with you.
It's good for other people. And it's good for us.
It's good. Like it's a learning moment.
I still battled with it.
For sure.
You know, and I'm who I am. So
yes, I agree. Okay. Well, I feel a lot better about that one. I feel like I handled it right. But let's go ahead and move on to this, something that I really wanted to bring up with you, because you are a businessman, and I wanted to know how important clout and hype was.
Well,
I feel like we overlook talent like every day, right? But I feel like I just feel like they don't bring so much to the table.
This is interesting.
Okay.
Interesting that you say talent. Like, yeah, talent's important, and yes, we're overvaluing clout and hype. What we don't value, it's not that we don't value talent enough. We don't value productivity enough. People that are actually producing good quality stuff.
Okay.
That's what we're not valuing, right? So we no longer value really good writers. So there's no more journalism anymore. Not just in music, just across the...
Yeah.
There's just no more journalism. There's no magazines. The newspaper business is dying.
Yeah.
People aren't, the book business is dying.
They're not even blogging anymore.
And so
it's crazy.
When you go on social media, right, what used to be magazines are now using social media moments and creating, journalism out of that, right?
Yeah.
Based on someone's tweet or Instagram post. And then they try to... It's like, well, that's not like journalism.
Yeah.
So...
It's the new.
And so, yes, we do value, clout and hype, you know what I'm saying? But if we're being honest with ourselves, we will always want true productivity. And what I mean by that is the real stuff that's being made and created from from art standpoint to anything in life, right? Where it's something of value.
Value, yes.
Right? We get distracted by clout. We get distracted by hype. We get distracted by how much we hate clout chasers. Like, we let all that distract us. But it's kind of like flies buzzing around.
Yeah.
Right? It's just distractions. What we need to focus on is who's really doing stuff, and why do we and acknowledge that we like that they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I was trying to think if I should bring up. Now I'm not going to bring up this scenario because people want to think I'm hating. But let's just
bring it up.
Let's just say, okay, I'm going to bring it up, but I'm going to try to be as delicate because I don't want people to think that I'm hating on him as a talent. But when you think of someone like a Tyler, the Creator, right?
Okay.
Amazing artist.
Yeah.
But he's also figured out how to utilize sensationalism.
For sure.
Right? But the productivity is undeniable.
Absolutely.
It's undeniable.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And as much as he has figured out how to get our attention and things like that, and it's like, oh, there's like some shock about it, but it's like, but damn, this is actually like amazing art.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying this other person doesn't have amazing art because they literally just dropped their album and we're going to see how everyone feels about it, right?
Okay.
But then you look at someone like a Lil Nas X.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Completely able to get our attention.
For sure.
Completely able to get our attention.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And a lot of the conversation tends to be about the attention he's getting from us more than the quality of the productivity. I am not saying he's not making good music. I am not saying that.
Yes.
But the conversation is always about the attention he's gotten from us.
100%.
Where with Tyler, he can get our attention and he can,
and still dispute lots of talent.
But the thing is but then you hear the music, it's like, Jesus, like this one, like did you hear the album? Or and I didn't start off as a Tyler fan musically, but as
Me too.
As he's grown, I'm thinking, he's amazingly talented.
Yes, he is.
His ability to produce and write and all these things, and then perform. If you saw his performance at Lollapalooza,
and be authentic,
it's unbelievable, right? And so when he gets our attention, he's producing something, though, right?
For sure.
We now have to allow Lil Nas X that same thing because he just dropped the album, today and whatnot. We'll see. And I heard some really good things from
already.
People, musically about it, right? But he has to understand that he's given us a lot to talk about that has nothing to do with the music.
100.
And I think he's very okay with that.
Yeah. I want you to know you don't sound like a hater.
Okay.
But that was like the perfect way to explain this situation.
And so we talk about everything but the actuality of the record.
You're right. I've only heard 2 songs. And I've never actually went in to dip into anything. But Tyler has been able to catch my eye and make me dip into his stuff. And keep going. Yeah.
So what we as a society need to do is we need to focus on the productivity. Because it's not just about the talent. Because there's people that are talented, but they waste their talent. They waste their opportunity, or we just don't get enough from them.
Yeah. Some people act like every day just comes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But who's actually producing things, right? And I think that's what we need to really focus on. Is people that are producing things. It's like, I like that.
I like that.
And admit that I like that. It's like, I like.
No, I love that. Yeah, for sure. I've seen people I know people, like one of my friends, she hits me up and she's like, sends me her cousin stuff. And she's like, my cousin just sucks. She's like, she's really not good. And I'll be truthful. Yeah, your cousin is not good. But I'm like, dude, she's doing music videos though. And she's putting out something constantly. And she's jumping on her Instagram and she's doing it live. And I know people with real talent who aren't working as hard as that.
And I respect. Let me tell you something. The thing I respect more than anything else is hard work.
100.
Hard work. When you tell me you've got all these shows and you're spreading yourself thin, and you're DIY, it's like, I respect that.
I appreciate
that. What I'm saying?
I appreciate. Well, you know what? And that's honestly why that's honestly why I respect myself. I'm like, I know what happens behind. We talked about this. Like, people don't know what happens behind here. You know what I mean? Yeah. I share a lot with them because I like for them to be a part of my process, and I feel like everything is super teachable. These are my DJ head moments. These are the times to say the way he taught me is to pass that on. You know what I mean? I feel like I actually just recently linked up with another podcaster, a chick, and she was like, dude, thank you. I didn't really think we were going to be able to do this, blah, blah. And you're pretty selfless and this and that. And I was like, cause when I started off doing this, you could only pray and wish that someone would actually want to help you. You could only pray and wish that someone would put you up on game. You think it's going to be the people who look like you. You think it's going to be the people that all have the job that you want, because you supported them or you did this or you did that. It's not. But God is good. He brought me DJ Head. You know what I mean? I was like, for sure. I've had the conversation plenty of times before on here, and I had it with Vic. We talked about, this is back when we were, this is during the pandemic, this is during the protesting, and we talked about how it's hard, the Raza has a hard time supporting Raza, and me and him have both been coming up and making it through our friends who are black. They support us first. You know what I mean? You just don't expect it to be the certain people. So anytime we've gotten into these conversations, I'm like, oh, you can count me out of that Latino talk right now, because I could only say that black people help me. Like I can't function any other way to say the people that you think helped me, or because people be like, why don't you hit up? Exactly. And why don't you hit up? And it's like, are you kidding? They don't even talk to me. Exactly. Yeah, we were in the same room for this many years. We met. Yeah, I interviewed them. I did this, but now I do their job, and it's not the same. It's not like that. But then you have a DJ head before he was doing all the stuff that he's doing, just doing cool shit. DJ head, cool shit. You know what I mean? And he was the one. Mm-hmm. And I've been writing ever since. And me and Vic felt the same way. It's just like, it's really hard in our culture. But you guys actually take care of each other.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because the situation I was telling you where I had this kid who's been talking shit, it's because I support people who are not black in the LA culture. Oh, yeah, that's a big fight. Right? That's a big fight. But you know what? You guys are doing something right now to definitely turn things around. But the thing is I'm for the city of LA. Mm-hmm. You guys represent the majority of LA. If you're going to participate for the dopeness of LA culture, you know what you have? My full support. My complete full support. Yes. Vic knows. Me and Vic, the thing about Vic. Oh,
I can't even imagine those conversations.
I call Vic, and I tell him personally, like, yo, I really respect you. Mm. I respect what you're doing. I tell him I respect him as a father.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I respect, the things
Shout he's Vic, Lil Vic.
And I give him his credit for what he brings to the culture, who he has put on, like who he has brought attention to. Like I'm working on a project right now based on something that he, publicized as a publicist. Like, and I told him, it's like, yo, you got the ball rolling. I think I might be able to take this to the next level. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But yes, there's so many Latinos in the LA culture that, we completely, especially me and Head, like we are very loudly supporting, because you guys are doing it the right way.
Yes.
It's about the culture and whatnot. And our thing is if you're giving a platform or an opportunity at whatever that helps, even if it's still black content, but you're giving, then you're us.
Yeah.
We're the same.
For sure.
Because my thing is this, we live in LA, right? So California should be Mexico. Not because the amount of, Mexicans.
Because that's legit.
Because America, which I didn't do, stole this country. That wasn't me. They came and right? And I'm
that's the right. It's right.
And I keep saying I shouldn't be here, but I'm here. So I'm going to work with you, and let's do this LA shit together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's why you have our support, because you're doing it the right way.
For sure.
Like you're giving people like Drebo an opportunity to.
Absolutely.
Like that's hard. That's super dope.
Oh, I love Drebo, dude.
Right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because he needs opportunities.
I'm the same way though. I'm like, hey, I gotta just like your music, and I'm Gucci. I don't care what color you are. Yeah. You know what I mean? It don't matter. So
that's why we support you guys.
Yeah.
Is because you're dope.
Yeah. We appreciate it, because our culture has a really hard time. We're all here. And it's just the weirdest thing. I've always supported Vic though. Vic's always supported me, and we have just kept that going. And we have never had that problem. I've always wanted to see him shine. He's always wanted to see me shine. It's a beautiful thing to have.
Yes.
Same thing with Lupe. It's just very like, there's some gems here and there, but the majority it ain't really about that life. But
I can understand that, because that's within every ethnic group, is that there's, you were just telling me that someone's approaching you that way. Yeah, an internal struggle of how people want to tell you how you should support what we, like your culture and whatnot. Like what you should be doing in your site. But I'm doing me, what's authentic to myself,
for sure,
and whatnot. And who cares that you work with other and so people want to tell you like, well, because you're this, you have to do it this way, and it's like. That's not what's in my heart. For sure. Because I'm who I am, I want to do it this way. And I want to work with this person and work with that person. I'd love to work with you, but you're being a hater. So I can't work with you. And,
for sure.
And whatnot. And you always got to go where you're celebrated in life.
Absolutely. And you know what? I love that you guys have this new show with Gina Views and, is it Crystal?
Yeah, Crystal the DJ.
Crystal the DJ. First of all, I love Gina Views.
Amazing.
I started following her after I seen her on Mad lately with Vic. And she's just an amazing personality. Oh my goodness! Like, what's her other show that she does?
She has. She does Mad lately. She does, and then she does her own thing, Whole Fashions.
Whole Fashions. Yo, Gina Views, if you could come down, boo, please. I need to talk to you. But she is so great, and I'm so glad that you and Head invested in her
100%.
being the host, because I feel like she's gonna blow up.
Yes.
She's gonna blow up, and she has. I've seen some of the Twitter things going down, and I know there's a lot of Latinos in media and covering hip hop culture, and which means that we're covering the Black community. What is the situation when y'all put that together? You know, I want to know more about it. I want to share it with my people so that way they tune in and they support this.
So the idea was kind of birthed out of my remember I told you that slingshot of me out of chemo, and I wanted to do that. So I had been developing individual professional relationships with Gina and Crystal. I've been seeing what they were doing because the thing about me is I see everything that goes on in the city and the culture.
For sure.
I don't talk about it all, and I don't maybe tap in, but I'm seeing everything.
Yeah, but it's important.
It's my job to see what's really bubbling. So I've been knowing about Gina for like years, and then Crystal was put on my radar in like 2019, and I've been watching her and whatnot. And during the pandemic, Crystal had an amazing pandemic run. Just staying busy and relevant, doing like hella like underground strip clubs and just and that was some bullshit like we should be doing because of the pandemic. But it's like, she
was still moving.
She was moving,
absolutely.
She was going.
I get it.
I tweeted like she was the hardest working DJ of 2020, and that was a real thing. Like she worked harder than anybody. And I've been I saw what Gina was doing, and then when she had the opportunity with Mad lately, because Gabe is my guy, Vic is my guy. I thought that was a great addition. So I reached out and started developing a relationship and saying, I'm paying attention. She already knew who I was, whatever I can do to help, blah, 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 right? Fast forward to March, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I'm a couple, weeks removed from therapy and things like that. And I was trying to figure out how to get those two to do something anyway, because I felt like there was natural chemistry there.
Yeah, there was like a light shown on both of them too.
And I'm like, God,
something.
And so
I love that. I love those moments, those creative moments. It's like there is something that's standing out.
But I didn't have the vehicle, right?
Okay.
And then based on some other things I was working on and whatnot, the conversation of the old school video show kind of came to me, and I've always missed it. I know that kids today don't want it because no one watches TV. So I'm not delusional that we're going to take over MTV. That's not my delusion.
Well, Tits and Tacos, that's kind of how I had it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I was like, attention spans are too small now.
Exactly.
So I would want to be like a throwback video and a new video. But yes, I love it, and I miss this.
We all miss that, right? And that's how we found videos and so on and so forth. And I'm just not of that YouTube generation where I just sit on YouTube all day and watch videos. I'm aged out of that, but I understand that exists. So anyway,
and I just want to bring it up to you because this is something that has been in my mind, also because I've always wanted to be a VJ. So like, it's been in my mind that so many people put out music and they put out videos. But you're right. No one's really going and looking, or they're just like, okay, new link in the bio every week, and it's hard to
So where's
miss.
The centralized place? Unless you're going to sit on YouTube all day long, and there's kids that do that.
Right.
There are kids that sit
but
on
at least
YouTube.
Here they won't go missed.
Exactly. So the idea of the video show came to me. I'm thinking, we should do a video show, but for the first time, two Black women talking about Black music without a male counterpart. Not one male counterpart.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea come from, right? So I call them up. I put them on group chat, say, I got to talk to you guys about an idea. We jump on a call. Here's my idea. They love the idea. Come to find out, I think Crystal says, well, we went to high school together.
Oh, shit. The chemistry.
Now, they weren't like super close then, but they knew each other. Like, no, they were.
When you're around the same area, you grew up, you know what I mean? It's it's too familiar.
Well, now that they're older and, whatnot, like.
And they're in the same industry. Ugh.
So it's like, beautiful. Wait, you guys went to high school? And I'm thinking, you guys never thought about doing something together? It's like, nah. I'm like, wow. So once I got them on board with the idea, I called Head. It's like, Head, here's this idea I have with Crystal and Gina, whoop-de-whoop. But I need you to come on board with me as an executive producer because you have the profile.
Yes.
Like, that was the cosign I needed. I didn't need him to be on screen.
Yeah.
But I needed that, like LeBron James when he does something, right?
The stamp. It's the stamp.
It's like we go watch it because, LeBron James is executive producing such and
100.
such. And so I lean into the fact that Head is a celebrity. Like that was the
For
goal,
sure.
was to create a celebrity. Created a celebrity. Gonna lean into that, right? And he was like, "Oh, the easy call, right?" And he's not just on name. Like he taps in. He's given them such great advice,
of course,
and perspective on creating content, how to. And so he's been invaluable in that way, right? And so I handle
this is a beautiful project.
I handle the day-to-day aspect of the overseeing of the show. We have a great production team in Breaking Ground TV. You know,
everything looks great.
Rod Thomas and Kern created 365. They have a great team, that handles all the production, cameras, audio, lights, and whatnot. And then Gina, Crystal, and Rob, they come up with the content. I don't even really come up with the content. I let them.
But that's their thing.
I let them.
That's
do
what
that.
they do. Yep.
I just oversee. I'm just executive producer. I just oversee.
Damn, that's great.
So basically, I gave them a sandbox.
Yeah.
Here's a sandbox. Go play.
Yeah.
And then I'll make sure that there's certain things that we don't do that get us in trouble. And
for sure, they've got some little regulations here and there.
We couldn't put on YouTube because of the copyright aspect. So I partnered with a black network, 1111 Media Network.
Oh, okay.
And they were very, very interested in having the content.
Nice.
And so we struck out a deal where they host it and whatnot. And so, that's why we have a very dedicated link to every episode. It's not like you could just go to YouTube, which is unfortunate, but you know what? It lives.
It lives. Yeah, absolutely.
It lives.
For sure. We're having a little problem at the moment, but we're going to fix it because I do need my new show to hit YouTube.
Exactly.
I'm not even playing the full song. I'm actually doing where I do 60 seconds of it and then it goes into our next talk and then 60 seconds of it. It's more like a preview of the album or the songs, but they have to go find the artist to really dip into their music, and that's just for YouTube because on the live, we just play the whole thing out.
Exactly.
So it's an opportunity. You come to the live, you can hear it all and enjoy it with us and we could talk about it, or you're going to catch 60 seconds of it, whatever, and then you decide if you like that.
And it's
artist.
an unfortunate aspect of the business of music that labels want to be that protective. I understand it because I'm a music industry guy, but it's but we're promoting. We're not. You're not trying to monetize.
All them damn flags get.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. It comes with it.
The show lives. The girls the women are amazing.
Yeah, and you know what? And I hope, and the way I hope for ourselves, you know what I mean? And I hope, just seeing what you guys have in the product that it is, and the girls that they're talented. I hope it does succeed. I hope it goes over the success that it already has right now, just so that way, we're missing these things on TV,
Exactly.
That is something that could easily go from that to that.
The thing about why I did it wasn't about the idea becoming a bigger idea and going, and I mean, if I can sell it, I'm selling it. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna, but at the same time, it's not this, out of the box idea. It's just a straightforward video show. I wanted to give the two women and the production team a vehicle to be seen.
Very good.
And create an opportunity for them to be seen and discovered by other people. And if I put that on my back, and have to put on this show so that they can be seen and then they go on to do great things, you know what I'm saying?
It's a win-win.
I won because I helped. I truly helped.
Yeah.
I created a vehicle for them to be seen.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing though. What you're doing is it's not only just two women, but like I said, it's a big talk between just Latin people doing the stuff out here in LA. And I'm just you actually pointed them out. You put them on TV.
Yes.
You gave them this this platform while they have their own.
They're doing
and
their own
it's
things.
just a beautiful business.
And
I just love it.
And the thing is over the last few years, I'll say because of, let's say, the Trump administration and whatnot, we learned about privilege, right? And we always talk about white privilege and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
But what we don't ever really talk about is male privilege enough. I'm a black man.
Amen.
And so I'm oppressed as a black man, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still a man.
For sure.
I can help you. As a man, I can help you.
We talked about this, right? I was just telling my homie the other day, we just ended a radio show that I guess they had for 10 years, but I joined very late, and it was this. They were coming to an end. Their drive just wasn't all there, and they're apologize to me. They thought they wasted my time. I said, no, you didn't, not at all. I'm not on the radio. So this was an experience. This was something that I needed before I do my own thing. You know what I mean? But I expressed that it was a privilege to be in the room with the men. With no crazy egos. They treated me equally. It was a thankful thing. Hey, no, you guys, I have never had it like this with the men in the room. Like, people are more likely to come to you. You guys treated me equal, but people will come to you and ask you something, and you got no shows, and then they won't ask me because I'm a female, but I have 50 shows.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It just happens to be the way it is, and I'm glad you brought that up.
No, I just don't bring it up. I talk about it.
Very good.
I have to support.
I appreciate that.
What people don't know about myself and Head included is 100% of the women in our lives are black and brown. Mm-hmm. Black and brown.
Yes.
And we're always looking to help them out, support them, promote them, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all we have. And those are our go-to people, right?
For sure.
Are black and brown women. And, women just are not given a fair shake. And women of color are not given a fair shake. So I may be black, but I'm a man. People are going to listen to me. Hello. Head's a man.
So you use the power and
our privilege in that way,
in the positive way,
to promote,
to help us.
That weren't gonna. Who else was gonna do this? Who else was gonna do it?
100. So
we did it.
It's true, and you guys are breaking boundaries by doing that.
And it shouldn't have happened in 2021.
Oh yeah, no, just wait for 2023 when the guys are out here just saying what you just said because they saw the interview, and they're like, "Wow, watch what I'm doing. I'm giving these women opportunities." You're late, bro. We've been doing this. But for real, that was one of the things with DJ Head. Like, it was never about me being a female. It's never been a discussion. It's never nothing. But when I did go to Homegrown, who's around? It's Sparkle, Lupe. Mm-hmm. It's true. Now we got Alex in there, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all female love.
I mean,
hey, man.
You can say the proof is in the pudding.
That's right.
You've seen it.
It is, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You've seen it.
That's interesting.
And we let them know that they run the show.
Yes.
I was doing an interview a couple weeks ago, and I was telling the interviewer, Jay Brock, that, Sparkle is the brain of Homegrown. And why she has stuck around, we don't know, because we are very difficult to work with. Not because, we're dicks or anything like that. We're just guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're just guys and we don't communicate well.
But we're women.
You know what I'm saying? And she loves us to pieces.
Oh, of course.
And there's nothing she wouldn't do.
Yes.
Right? And so I let everybody know that when people want to get booked and whatnot, I can book anybody I want.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm Sallis. I don't. You have to talk to Sparkle. You can go to Chuck. You got to go to Sparkle. You got to go to Head.
Yes.
You got to go to Sparkle.
For sure.
She's the general manager of
and you don't overstep you gave the title that you
empowered her and whatnot. So you're going to go to her and whatnot, and she's the brainchild of the brain trust. I'm sorry, of the brand and whatnot, and because we are where we are because she has taken the reins.
For sure.
That's what women do, right? Bring organization.
Yes. He knows.
Other than that, we're just a mess.
Yes. It's true. It's true. It is what it is. It's the motherly thing that we just got going on naturally.
Men will go to Target and never go down that aisle with compartments. Like there's an aisle of compartments.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you put stuff inside of stuff. And it's like, that's how you separate and organize.
Let's get it right. Let's do this.
Just put everything in the drawer.
We set you up for success. And it sounds like you guys also do the same. Let them know where to find this new show. They can
follow West Coast Comp TV on Twitter and Instagram. The new episode is always going to be in the bio. Okay. And you can go to 1111 Media Network
to watch them.
Exactly. And search the show there, West Coast Confidential. And every other Monday we have a new episode. We just started, Crystal just started curating the Spotify playlist of all the songs too.
Yeah, I'm actually have to do that now.
Yeah, so they can. So every other Monday is the new playlist.
Beautiful.
And then we have the new episode, and so every Monday there's new content from them, and then we're always looking for just the newest, dopest videos.
I love it. I love the concept, but more than the concept, just what comes behind that. Just having that, you guys heard the story, like where that comes from and how empowering that is for women. I would definitely want you guys to check in and check it out and support them, and support my guy Sallis right here. Before we go, and I wanted to ask you about your future. I wanted to ask you what you manifest is what's coming up for you.
Well, the reason why I started all of this was I always knew that I was gonna, definitely do my own label and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
But early on, I made a lot of mistakes.
Okay.
Because I just didn't know enough. I didn't know enough about the business. Cost me a lot of money. Cost me some relationships, all that, right?
Yep.
And I've taken the last, especially like 10 years to just focus on learning the business and have been purposely patient.
Good.
Now I know the business inside and out. I know it better than people that work at labels. I'm consulting for a lot of different people.
You said it. You're a walking label.
I'm a walking label. And so now the next thing for me personally is to get back into, artist development, putting out music, things like that, while maintaining this management thing that I was never intending to do.
Yeah.
But I do well.
Very good.
I do it
Absolutely.
well. And finding, amazing people to work with on the management side and whatnot. But then also, I'm kind of good at this TV thing. So probably,
You doing everything. The future holds everything for Sallis right here. It's good. This is good. This is good.
More TV stuff
Yes.
and whatnot. And the thing that I'm really paying attention to is where life wants me to go.
Yeah.
I stopped trying to control
In the present.
and now what I tell Head this, it's like all we got to do is see the wave, get on the surfboard because the wave is coming and let it take us into land. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever the energy is going, just go with it. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing now? This is what I'm doing right now. So much of the time we're trying to dictate how we want life to go.
Yeah.
Like, I want it to go like this and like that.
Yeah, and it's okay to accept.
Well, the success comes when you just let go.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, let me just be one with the energy, right?
For sure.
And so when I wasn't working on artists and things like that, I was like, damn, I'm getting away from music. What I didn't realize I was doing,
That was me too. Yeah.
was I was learning so much about music.
For sure.
And learning so much about the business.
During that time.
I started working with producers. And so I started having to do business on the producer side of the music business and things like that. And then I was working with, Head and Chuck and whatnot, and we're doing stuff with Revolt TV and things like that. So I'm learning TV. And I didn't realize, I have so many more tools on my tool belt.
Yeah.
So when I go back to the music and on the label side of stuff, I truly will understand brand activations.
For sure.
Because I've done it. I'll understand how to do sync, situations and deals because we help play songs in rhythm and flow. Like we've done so many things that people don't know.
Yeah.
My tool belt is so full and whatnot. And so it's like, I just have so much information and so much knowledge. It's like, oh yeah. And I always stayed relevant. So I know what the new sound is. I know who's coming up in the city.
For sure.
I'm aware of all
You're
of
tapped
that.
in.
I'm tapped in with all this knowledge. And so now I'm just ready and I just go with the flow. Whatever comes my way, I'm just like, yeah, let's do it.
That's good. That's a good attitude to have. I love that. I love that you're in this room and that we're going back and forth like this because you are honestly injecting this energy into me. And I feel it and it feels good. It feels good. It feels like a building energy. And that's off top my shit. That's my shit. If we're living in the present moment, this is a building moment. And we're going to go back to this part right here. And in the future, we could say where that wave took you. You know what I mean? But real quick, before I let you go, because that conversation kind of led to this last part right here, is what would you say to someone who has the knowledge and wants to do something, but they're just not doing it?
They're just not doing it?
Yeah, because they think every day is just they can do it in a month and they can do it in 6 months.
Got you. The thing is
let them know.
I say this every day. A lot of things come to the house. Amazon, DoorDash, Postmates, right?
For sure.
The mail, everything comes to the house.
Yes.
The one thing that's not coming to the house is success.
Ooh.
You have to leave your house and go get that.
That's it.
Success is not coming to the house.
That's it.
So if there's anything that you're trying to do, right? And even if it's a home-based business, because obviously it's like, well, I can have a home. Yeah, but you still have to go build that business.
For sure.
You still have to go, register that business. You have to go, get the bank account. All those things, right? You still have to go build in and whatnot and put out that energy of outwardness, right?
Yes.
You have to go get success. Success is not pulling up.
For sure.
Anybody.
Nope. It's not.
Anybody.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I was willing to work with Head and pick him up in Bellflower and Drive, because I had to go get to the success.
Absolutely.
And to this day, our drives are so insane because we're trying to get to this. The thing is, people look at us and like, oh man, you guys are amazing. You guys are legends. You guys have done so much. It's like, we're like, we haven't done nothing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much more we want to do. It's like,
yeah.
No, we're trying to do that. And so our drives are so insane.
Yeah.
That, we'll leave, we'll just leave the house and we're like, hey, let's just, and we'll be together sometimes like, hey, we're just going to have, we joke, it's like, hey, we're going to have one of them 2019 days. Because that's when we were like ripping and running doing.
Hey, if you got to go back to that year to bring that energy back, that's what you do.
Crazy. We're doing rhythm and flow, big BT experience. He was at the radio. Like, it was insane. And it's like, we were like at that level of physical output. And so we say we got to have one of them 2019 days where we're just out there getting it.
Yes.
Like we don't have it.
Yeah. Which I feel like most people need to do. If you don't have it, then you got to go get it. Exactly. You're right. That's one of those things. So I love that.
So success is not pulling up. That everything else can come to the house, but success
is not pulling up.
It's not pulling up to the house.
How do you feel about people who like they think they want to do something, but they're better at something else? Do you think people should? How does this transition? I could talk to you all day. How does this transition work for people?
Sometimes you have to be honest with yourself. So many people want to be the artist and don't realize they just need to be in the business.
Yes, I agree. Because even when I would go to radio places, I would tell them at the end all the time on my way home, walking backwards out of their offices or whatever. It's like, hey, I would tell them like, I don't need to be in the front. Like, I'm okay with being in the back. Mm-hmm. And most people back then were coming to me because of the front. But I was like, I like the background stuff too. Like I do that for myself right now, but I'm ready to like expand and produce, and like I'm already like on that level, you know what I mean? Cuz I'm like, yeah, I could do that, and it's great and this feels natural, but I'm also capable of doing this part. But you have people who really want to be this part. And it just might not be this, but they are definitely good at this back end.
Exactly.
And I just don't know how to even like tell someone that.
So some people want to be the artist, but they really are just entertainers. It's like you maybe aren't the rapper, but you might be a host. Mm-hmm. You might be an actor.
Oh, I've seen that.
You might, Will Smith is a much greater actor than he was as a rapper, and he has a Grammy.
For sure.
Right? And we like the music. Yes. But as an actor, it's like, oh my God, you're kind of like amazing, right?
For sure.
And so if you can, what's funny is I was running from the title and tag of manager for a long time because I looked at that as being beneath my skill set and brain capacity.
I hate labels, so I feel you.
And I'm like, I don't want to be a manager. Yeah. I want to run a label and whatnot.
For sure.
And I was trying to control and dictate. Right.
Yeah.
And when I was humbled enough by life, I accepted an opportunity to start managing and whatnot. And before I managed Head, I was managing an artist, and because I always wanted to work on the music, and for me it was always I wanted to like executive produce music and whatnot. What I didn't realize is by managing an artist, I got to work on music.
Yeah.
I got to do that, right?
Yes.
So by letting go and trying to force something. Life was like, oh, we'll take you where you need to go, but like you got to take like this raft.
Yeah,
I'm trying to pick that raft. I'm trying to pick that boat, that yacht. It's like, take this raft.
Yeah,
we're gonna get you there. It's like, but that yacht is fire. Take this raft. I had to take the raft, right? And so sometimes people need to take a step back and be like, I'm trying to force this thing that I'm having. Anytime you're having resistance. And something that you feel like I shouldn't have resistance, like I should be able to make this happen, but it's the process is being very, very difficult. Sometimes there's obstacles and sometimes there's walls. Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
Yes,
and you have to figure out which one is one. Like
for
obstacles you can clear, walls you can't.
For sure.
And the wall is there to tell you you're going in the wrong direction. You got to go this way. And if you can tell that I'm hitting a wall, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Pivot. Always pivot to keep forward progression. Very and whatnot. Good. And so to answer your question, you have to have some self-awareness, check your ego.
Yes.
And allow life to put you into greatness.
Amen.
Because greatness is not always what we think it is. It's what we're supposed to do. Was that one for you, Norbert?
That was beautiful. That was beautiful, man. We're gonna have to end it right there. That was just all gems. Thank you, Bryan.
No, seriously. Thank you for the opportunity. Like I said, I've known who you are. You've been doing your thing for years.
Thank you.
I suggest anyone who has an opportunity to speak with you because it's coming from a place of passion.
Absolutely.
Like you really care about the culture.
Absolutely.
And
100%.
So, and they should all do the show because
Thank
it's going to
you.
be a real. Any one of the 30 shows you have going on.
You know what though? I do want you to come back and be in the room when I do my play and pause.
Okay.
That's the one I do with music.
Okay.
And any feedback would be great. So anytime,
as long as they're open to the feedback, because
yeah, absolutely.
I'm not as brutal as Head, but I'm as brutal as Head.
I need that. I need that because I like things or whatever. And I'm a big, Norbert knows. I mean, I'm crazy hard on myself. But the more help, the better. You know what I mean? And I'll send you one so you can check it out. But yes, I would like you to check it out in the room and catch the actual vibe. So maybe soon I could get you.
Easy call.
I got like a Chris O'Bannon coming like the 30th.
I used to work with Chris.
Perfect. The 30th. You be here?
I can.
We'll check the calendar.
No, I have to go to Atlanta.
Okay. Well, we'll check in. We'll check back in. But I do want you to come check that out. Let them know where to find you, especially on Twitter.
So just I'm nowhere but Twitter and somewhat on Instagram, but like Twitter's
it.
Twitter's my jam.
Twitter's like a whole other place. It's a beautiful place though.
I just be talking shit and dropping gems, mostly talking shit, little gem dropping.
It's funny because it's like the music industry and like this media industry, like we're all on Instagram, right? But there's only like a certain amount of us on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's a whole other life out there.
And that's where I like Twitter because it's about information.
Me too.
And I'm very good with words.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I love Twitter.
And those moments of thought and when you let them, I catch on very quickly. And so when some of the things that you have just put out in the air, I've grabbed them and I have taken them with me, and I want you to know how important they are.
Thank you. I'm just grateful and humbled that people value anything that I say or want to talk to me. But
little OU.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Sallis Money, SALLISMONEY. Both places, it's the same. You will not see my face on my avatar, but I'm not verified, but it really is me.
That's him. That's really him. We'll see when that new logo I made you goes up on there. We'll see what's up. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it like this. But I wanted to say thank you to anybody who showed up on Twitch today for the live. You know, next week we put out our podcast daily. It should be Thursday. I want to also touch on real quick that I haven't been able to put in the last podcast that I did. So don't think that I've just stopped or I'm taking a break. It's none of that. It's actually that I always give people a week to figure out if they want me to post it or not. And if somebody feels uncomfortable, I don't do that, which is why you should show up to the Twitch, because somebody will express themselves, will say the truth in the beginning, and then that week comes and they're like, hey, it might have been too much. I'm good on the Apple and Spotify. But, it's just a personal thing. I like to give people that, just that leisure of saying if they feel comfortable or not. So that's why we don't have a podcast for this week. So if you caught it today, perfect. If not, next week, you're going to have to upload this one again. I also want to do a big shout out to the homie Emilio, who is our sponsor. He is for Honey House Extracts, and he is the reason I get to do this 24/7. He is the reason why we have the Homegirl Fox. He is the reason why we have Play and Pause now. He's the reason why I can be here so much with you guys without door dashing. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate him. I want to give him a big shout out and a big happy birthday. Also shout out to the Limitless guys, period, because without them, we wouldn't have this room. You know what I mean? We would not, who knows where we'd be. But shout out to them because it's their 1 year anniversary and they are celebrating this Sunday. It's going down. If you guys are on Twitch right now, I'm going to show up for a little bit. And then I'm going to head over to You're Not Down for Angie V's. She's not saying it's her birthday, but it's the bitch's birthday. So we're going to go ahead and celebrate her as well. But celebrate Limitless 1 year anniversary with me. A bunch of people are going to be here, vendors, music, and yeah, you guys can buy some gear. Check out the store if you haven't checked it out. Smokey's Tacos is going to be here. My sister's going to be here with her candies and all that good. And I'm going to show up for a while and kick it. So I hope to see you guys. And I'm going to close it out like that. Norbert, are we good?
Wait, I want to make one more point.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry, one more point. You talked about you don't have a team, you only have Norberg and whatnot, but yet you talked about your sponsor and your partnership with Limitless. You have a team.
Oh yeah, there's a team.
And so,
for sure.
The reason why I want you to see that is I want you to understand all that you do have.
Oh yeah. I
and
do.
You have these great guys
For
who
sure.
are helping, and so you actually do have.
And you know what?
It's about perspective.
I'm glad you brought that up.
It's about perspective.
I'm glad you brought that up because I bring this up plenty amount of times. The people who fuck with me on Twitch 24/7, you guys that are always in there, there's a certain group. It's my quarantine family.
Quarantine family.
It really is because they met me there and they stuck with me ever since. They're the ones who put out, they promo me for free. They do all that stuff. And it's the biggest help I could ever have. So yes, you're right. I do have a team and it's you guys and I can't do it without you. So keep showing love. I'm going to show love back. You guys already know what's up. And I'm going to go ahead and end it out like that. All right. It's the Homegirl Fox. Bye.